Brussels sprouts used to be the vegetable that everyone loved to hate, but not anymore. This raw Brussels sprout salad flips the script completely and you don't even have to cook a thing. It's crisp, fresh, it's tossed with dried cranberries, candied pecans, shaved Parmesan, and an amazing maple Dijon vinaigrette. This is the kind of no-cook side dish that gets wiped clean at holiday dinners, and it comes together in under 15 minutes. Make it ahead, serve it cold, and watch people go back for seconds of Brussels sprouts. I'll show you how to shave them, dress them, and elevate this underrated veggie into something worthy of your holiday table. For the full ingredient list, check the description box below, but enough talking, let's get cooking. So let's start this no-cook recipe off with the Brussels sprouts. We're gonna use one of my favorite tools in the kitchen, the Japanese mandolin. I like this Japanese mandolin because it has this little part that we could put these little inserts in, and that's gonna help us for some other ingredients that we're gonna cut up. But let's start off with the Brussels sprouts. And this is just another public service announcement. Whenever you're using your mandolin, always wear a cut glove. They are very inexpensive and they really stop some serious accidents to happen. This is a fast recipe, but nothing will slow it down like a trip to the emergency room. I have my mandolin set to just like a nice slice setting, and now I'm gonna work the Brussels sprout right into the bowl. And one of the great parts about doing this Brussels sprout one, it's got like a little safety built in, because normally I would cut off the root end of the Brussels sprout, but that's the handle I like to use to hold the Brussels sprout as I'm shredding it. And you could totally do this by hand. This just makes it a whole lot faster and more uniform. And Brussels sprouts can come in all different shapes and sizes. So here I like to put probably like a little over a pound, maybe 1.5 pounds of Brussels sprouts. I don't want to tell you an exact amount of Brussels sprouts because look how much they can vary in size. Like this is both coming out of the same batch. This is a Brussels sprout and this is a Brussels sprout. So I'm not gonna tell you like 25 Brussels sprouts because it ain't 25 of these or these. So, you know, about 1.5 pounds. And before I add any of the other ingredients, I'll get in there with my hands and I'll just kind of break up any of like the bigger slices. I don't have to be super exact, but I'll take any of these like bigger slices that we cut through and just break those up into the little shreds. So now here we got a Brussels sprouts, beautifully colored and slightly larger cousin, the red cabbage. I'm just gonna cut off a sliver of this red cabbage because we want the Brussels sprouts to be the star, but I'm gonna shred the red cabbage in there for a nice contrast of color. Look how beautiful red cabbage is when you cut that. That looks absolutely unbelievable. I love vegetables, and you can see that like they are really amazing things out of nature. So I'm gonna cut this into quarters just so it's a little easier to handle. On goes the cut glove. And now we'll take this and also shred this right in. Next up, we're gonna put a half a red onion in there. I feel like no salad is complete without onion representation. In this recipe before, I've also used shallots. So sometimes if you're making this around holiday time, you have some extra shallots. That'd also be a good use for the shallots. The last thing that we're gonna use the mandolin to go inside this salad is gonna be an apple. So I'm gonna take the peel off of this apple. And here I'm using a Honeycrisp apple. You can use any apple. Granny Smith would work really well right here, or any of the other apple varieties. There's so many apple varieties now, it's really hard to even keep track of them. Most of them are good. The ones I'd probably stay away from is like a Macintosh apple or a Red Delicious. But honestly, those are probably work just fine. If that's your favorite apple, go ahead and throw those in there. I'm gonna cut the apple in half and just trim it up. We'll remove the top, remove the bottom, and take out the core. So one of the cool parts about the Japanese mandolin that it comes with all these inserts. I can take these and I can add these into the blade, and you can see here I'm gonna use the largest one. And now I'm gonna insert the blade on the bottom of the mandolin. Again, cut glove goes back on. And here, this one I'm gonna shred outside the bowl so you can see it. But I'm gonna take the apple, and as I'm shredding it, you can see we got these really nice, like thick, like almost, I wouldn't call them matchsticks because these are a little bigger than matchsticks, but you know, nice thick pieces of apple that are really nice for a salad. And look how fast that was. This would take a really long time to do this cut work this evenly with a knife. This makes the job really easy, and I already got the mandolin dirty, so I might as well keep using it. I'm not big on kitchen gadgets, but this is definitely one of them. So if you don't have this, you could do this recipe by hand, but this makes it a whole lot easier. And this is well worth the low price tag that you can get for this. So now we need a couple of store-bought ingredients. Here we're gonna add some dried cranberries. Cranberries, I think, are like one of the quintessential like fall and winter things that you really don't see in a lot of summer, spring recipes, but this adds a really nice seasonal touch to this recipe. Next up, I'm gonna put some candied pecans. This I'm preparing for holiday time, so I'm using the candied pecans because honestly, they taste better because they're covered with nice, sweet, wonderful glaze. If I was making this more for a weeknight, I wanted to tone it down, I may just use like some regular pecans and toast them. But either way, we gotta chop them up a bit because these are a little too big to go inside there. So I'll just take these and I'll just run my knife roughly through them, trying to just break up the larger pieces. When I don't use the candied pecans, I like to use regular pecans, chop them, and then toast them. So if you did go that route, just use regular pecans, chop them up the same way that I'm doing right here, and then toast them. And I don't need to pulverize this, I just need to get rid of all the big chunks. Now we're gonna add some Parmesan cheese that I'm gonna shave with my vegetable peeler. I'm gonna just shave it right in there. You can use Pecorino Romano or another sharp cheese, but I think this is a great cheese to use for this. And we don't wanna shred it, but I do wanna take the vegetable peeler and just cut it up into little pieces. It's another use for a vegetable peeler that you really don't see a lot of. It's an unbelievable way to use it. Now let's make a really simple dressing for this salad. So here I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil to this bowl, the juice from 1 lemon, a spoonful of Dijon mustard. For sweetness, we're gonna add some of this maple syrup. This is homemade maple syrup for my friends in Minnesota. This stuff is so good, so smoky, and I love using it as an ingredient in dressings and all kinds of savory stuff. We're gonna put 2 spoonfuls of that, and a little salt, and some fresh ground black pepper. I'm just mixing until the Dijon mustard looks nice and mixed in and everything looks nice and uniform. So now we'll take our dressing and we'll pour this on top of our salad. Now I'm gonna try to give this a mix without it spilling over. This bowl is packed to the max. I should be using a larger bowl. And in fact, I'm gonna make that change because I think it'd be way easier to mix if it was in a slightly larger bowl. I just always like to use the glass bowls because I always like to show you like what's going on. These larger metal bowls, they're easier to work with, but they're way harder for you to see what's going on. That's much better. I mentioned this before in previous videos, but it's really important that if you're cooking and you see something's not working, you gotta pivot. So if you grab the wrong bowl and the bowl's too small, go get a larger bowl, it's okay. It's way easier to just clean one more bowl than to try to mix this in the smaller bowl, half of it fall out. You can see how much easier this is and I got plenty of room to work with. And look how beautiful this salad is. And I'll keep working from the bottom and just keep giving it a toss. And once I see everything is mixed well enough, I'm gonna get my nice serving bowl out and we'll throw the salad inside the serving bowl. And I'll show you how we'll dress it up for the table. And you can see this is a large salad, so this is a perfect recipe for a nice large holiday or family gathering. We don't even have to dress this up. Look how nice this looks already. And now to garnish it, we're just gonna add a couple of the ingredients that are already in there right on the top. So we'll start off with some of the dried cranberries. The dried cranberries tend to stick to each other, so make sure that like as you're putting them on, you're breaking them up with your hands so there's not putting like cranberry clumps. I probably should just cut up extra pecans when I was making them for the salad. Don't make the same mistake that I did. And last but not least, the Parmesan cheese. Here I like to shred it right onto the cutting board of the table, and then I'll use my hands to place it because it's gonna be really hard for me to place it very accurately with the peeler. But here I could just peel a bunch and then use my hands to spread it nice and evenly on top. And now how amazing does this shaved Brussels sprout salad look? No cooking. This shaved Brussels sprout salad looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to try this. So let's get a nice big scoop of this. Now, before I put this in the bowl, look how amazing this salad looks. This is a salad that can go on any holiday table, and everyone will be fighting over this and asking who made the Brussels sprout salad recipe. Let's get a little bit of everything on one bite. This salad's a pretty well mixed salad, so if we just get a big bite, we should be able to get everything on there. But this looks absolutely amazing, and this is gonna be an epic bite. Second to that this is a no-cook recipe. That's probably one of the best features of this. But the number one feature is how delicious this is, because this is so good. You know, the sweetness and the crunch from the apple, and you get a little bit of sweet, you know, playing off of the cranberries and those glazed pecans. And you get that nice sharpness from the onion and the crunch that comes from the Brussels sprouts and the red cabbage. This is absolutely fantastic. And we didn't have to cook anything. And for everything we put in here, it's relatively healthy. Most holiday meals and dishes are known for being unhealthy, but people rationalize it because they're like, oh, it's the holidays. But this is relatively healthy. You could even healthen it up a little bit, make this for meal prep. This is fantastic. Christmas, Thanksgiving, I don't care. I'm eating this. Not only was it delicious, this is fast. You could shred everything, put it in a bowl, keep the dressing aside, mix it right before the guests come over, sprinkle the stuff on top, and this is gonna seem like you spent all day making it, and it was really just a little 10, 15 minute add-on to all the things that you're putting on your holiday spread. If this is your first time here and you're just finding my channel, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel so you can find out when I drop new recipe videos. And if it's holiday time and you're looking for more stuff to put on your holiday table, check out my green bean casserole. That is a really nice version made with no canned ingredients. I hope to see you there. Thanks.